In this life, you have to hustle for your orgasms. This is me hustling for as many orgasms as I can collect. Tonight, I die here.
This is Damilare Kuku's Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad. Okay, so I think the title of this book is not like one that I've seen before. When I first saw it on Twitter, I thought it was a parody or something, but actually it's a well composed book, and yeah, the title is Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad. And I have a lot to say about the title, but I think when you read the content of the book, you kind of see that yes, the title basically captures what the book is about. So this book is a collection of short stories. That is to say that each chapter has its own story. Each chapter has its own short story in itself, with different characters and everything. And each story is basically should I say, a life changing or bizarre experience of a woman in Lagos, and it's showing how some crazy interaction she had with other men of Lagos. So yeah, it kind of embodies it. Although if I were to title it, I'll probably title this "Everyone in Lagos is Mad," but I'm not the author. So I really enjoyed reading this book. This book is a solid 4.5 star, or I'll probably give it a 5 star if just for, well, just because, you know, I have some criticisms for this book. But yeah, it was a very nice book, a very enjoyable book. Um, I think the stories, I'm not sure, but I think the stories in the book were real life stories narrated by actual people. It's not just fiction. I think they are actual stories that happen to some people, and I think if you are in Nigeria, these experiences shared by these people would be of use. They have some very life changing lessons that you can learn from, and you know, you can apply to your own lives. So, for the things I like about the book, I think the first thing is the writing, is the POV. The POV, it uses second person POV. This is not something that you see a lot in fiction. This is, that's POV where they use you as a pronoun instead of he, they, she. Yeah. So this POV is not usually used in fiction. I see it a lot in non-fiction, but I don't see it in fiction. And it was used very satisfyingly in this. I think it was used very satisfyingly in this story, in the sense that it kind of puts you in a psychological scenario, and it doesn't impose anything in that scenario. You just kind of, you are free to run, you are free to allow your imagination to run, you are free to laugh, you are free to cry if you feel like it, and it just kind of guides you through every story, as if you are the main player of that story, as if you are the main character yourself. The second point that made me really love this book is the writing style. The writing style is very simple, and it's not like how Nigerians would write a book. Nigerians usually write something with the goal of it being complicated, because the more complex the English is, the more intellectual it looks. Well, that this is a very Nigerian thing to think though. The more complicated the English is, the more intellectual the author seems, and okay, like that. Is either that or they are absolutely trying to copy Chimamanda, which doesn't work out. But this is something in itself. It's like reading a thread on Twitter. I think that's how I put it. Like reading a thread on social media. It uses short Nigerian languages. It uses short sentences which are composed in a very Nigerian way. And as a Nigerian, you just kind of, yeah, you just, how do I say this? you are just invested in it. You just understand it and it resonates with you. It's like speaking to someone, which makes it more addictive to read. You don't feel like you are reading a boring book. Yeah, the stories are good, but the writing style makes it a lot better. And the the last part, although it kind of scares me, but the part where the story feels like you are receiving, maybe you're speaking to an elder and you're receiving some of their life experiences. Although it is scary to think that people actually went through this. I find it hard to think that people actually went through some of these things, especially the first chapter. But it's not unbelievable because people go through similar things. But the fact that to think that people go through these things, these stories might be true, is scary. But at the same time, is something that I love about the story. Characters. Characters. I'm a Nigerian man, although I didn't grow up in Lagos, but still, Lagos men are Nigerian men. I'm a Nigerian man. And this book is trying to depict Lagos men as mad people. so, so yeah, it's like there isn't more, and again, is the experiences of women basically. So there isn't much for me to relate to. Um, there isn't much for me to relate to among the characters. There isn't much for me to relate to in the book, but there were some things about the characters, about the stories that, yeah, I could relate to very well. Like in the first chapter, the first story, there was, okay, there was a character there. I think that was Lukman. Let me see. This is husband, who is also like the madman. I'll use that term. Who is the madman of that chapter. I could actually relate to Lukman. It's not like, although the reason for me relating to him is not because I see myself like him, no, God forbid, I can't be anything like him, but the reason I could relate to this character is because of something you see the narrator, who is also his wife, said. Um, so this chapter is about a woman who is basically the breadwinner of her family and she's just trying to run her small business. And then someone, some rich guy just comes in. Please, I forgot to add a spoiler tag. So if in case you don't want any spoilers, you can move the video forward. So this other guy comes in and offers her money and a better life if she would sleep with him. So yeah, she then describes her husband later on when the whole family and everything, when she tries to kill her husband, basically she describes her husband saying this, and I quote,
Yes, he was the last child and only boy, but their cuddling contributed to making him lazy, entitled, and impotent in any adversity.
so that last part, impotent before any adversity, that is something that I relate to because that is a fear that I have of becoming someone who is practically impotent. And we're not really impotent, but incompetent before any adversity. And it's something that you don't see yourself becoming until you are married and then your wife tells you how trash you are in handling adversity. Then you realize that, oh, I've been wasting a lot of time and I really don't know how to do shit. I could relate him to a lot of people that I know. That was like the character that I could relate to the most. The rest, hmm, well, I say their stories are relatable. I've seen relationships happen like that. I've seen people have relationship with partners, crazy in-laws, friends. I've seen similar things happen. Although it hasn't happened to me personally, I really hope I don't get to be in any of those situations. But yeah, I think the characters too. Although you spend very short time with each character in each chapter, but you can relate to them at a deep level. I think this is because I I'm a Nigerian, and we kind of just relate to them on a deep level. And I'm sure if you're a Nigerian watching this, I'm sure you have the same feeling towards it. While reading this book, while reading this book, there were I have to admit there were a lot of crazy moments. There were a lot of crazy lines basically. There were a lot of things that were said, a lot of things that were narrated. I have to admit, they made me scream. Like when you're reading them, you just want to shout what the actual fuck is going on. And I'm going to share those moments with you. This part contains a lot of spoilers, so you can fast forward the video. You can fast forward the video if you don't want to listen. So the first one,
I couldn't place it, but I sensed this had something to do with Jamila, and it was going to go bad. So I said, don't do this. But man, acting all innocent, asked, do what? So I said, Ignatius. Man said, yes. I said, your mother, God rest her soul, named you after Saint Ignatius of Loyola. What the fuck is an Iqbal?
that last part, what the fuck is an Iqbal? So this chapter was actually narrated by a man who was describing his own friend who kept living one marriage to another. So this part, he actually became a Muslim so that he could marry his next target, who is the Jamila in question, and he changed his name to Iqbal. So that's what brought about the line, what the fuck is an Iqbal? So this was one of the lines that made me scream like God. This was too funny given the context. So the next one is okay. She says, and I've gotten over Oyinbo men in Lagos. So Oyinbo men, white men.
And I've gotten over Oyibo men in Lagos. Looking back though, sometimes I wonder if there is peculiar madness that possesses men once they are in Lagos. Are all men in Lagos mad or is it me? In the end, I'm back where I started. Still tired of Lagos men. Nearly all of them are mad. I won't weary.
Okay, okay. So this chapter is like this isn't the last chapter, but the chapter kind of summarizes the author's points in one statement, in like two paragraphs, where she said, "In the end, I'm back where I started. Still tired of Lagos men. Nearly all of them are mad. I won't be. I'm not Yoruba, but I get the message. I get the message. They're all mad. But I have my criticisms for this chapter and this character, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I get it. They are all mad. Yes, the next the next statement. This was narrated by a man. This was narrated by a Lagos man, and who I think is the madman of this chapter. So he says, in this life, you have to hustle for your orgasms. This is me hustling for as many orgasms as I can collect. Tonight, I die here. Tonight, tonight we fight. Tonight we die for this orgasm. Moving on to the next. You will sit in the corner of your living room and cry because a married Lagos man broke your heart. I felt really bad for the lady in question in this chapter because she was done dirty by a married man who she thought was in love with her, but she had no idea he was only making her a mistress. She was done dirty, really dirty, and I felt like crying for her, but at the same time, if I'm being honest, it was really fun. Let's move on to the next. As usual, breakfast was mostly quiet, interrupted by the soft beeps from Biodun's iPad Pro and the occasional small talk that came from the natural sea finish of 2 decades of marriage. So, see finish is like disrespect that grows over time. It's that kind of disrespect that comes about when you no longer appreciate someone's presence. The person is too present, so you no longer appreciate it and you start to disrespect the person. That's see finish. You see the person finish. This paragraph has that light tone that I was talking about. The use of the very colloquial Nigerian terms in the story, making which makes it look like a thread on social media. This chapter has that same feel I was talking about, and with the use of the term "see finish," is just you know very relatable. And one, we just get it. We just get. We don't need to explain. We don't need some. We don't. This book, this part just shows that you don't need that kind of big um, you don't need that kind of big grammar, that kind of complex linguistics to make something interesting. You just need to get your message across, and this part just got that message across. Like these were the parts that made me leave the pages of a book and into someone's situation, into a psychological scenario, and made me want to scream. I really appreciate the author for doing that. I think it was very well done, and I hope to read more like this from this author. And for the last part, criticisms I have of this book. The only criticism I had for the book is that the smut was in a lot of places it was unnecessary and I really didn't care for it. In fact, I just moved through some of the paragraphs because I couldn't sit and read through all that. Although in some chapters it was necessary, but I think the book could have done with less smut and it could have been way shorter than it is. But apart from that, I think everything was okay. It was really a good book and I hope to see more from this author in the future. So that'll be it for this review. And I don't know, I just felt like doing this type of review because it seemed like a good idea, but I think I should do more of this. So please, if you have any books from Nigerian authors, you can give me the recommendation. I'll try to look for it. I'll try to read them, and I'll try to make reviews better than this one. This is like my first review, apart from the one I did of American. Okay, let's say this is my second review on this channel, and I know this review falls short, but hopefully I get it right next time. And if you like this video or you want to see more videos like this, please like and subscribe. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section, and yeah, we'll meet in the next video.